Let us move on to the third presentation. Under the theme of AI supports the education of artistic thinking, we would like to have the Carl Peter Buschkühle, Professor Art Education.
Carl Peter Buschkühle from the Department of Art Education and Justus Liebig University Giessen, Germany, will give a lecture on the topic Teaching Artistic Thinking with AI. Please begin whenever you're ready.
Yes, thank you. May I have my presentation free? Okay, I cannot yet upload my presentation. Because it is blocked. Okay, maybe now. Okay, here we go. So, I hope you can see it. So please give me an answer. Do you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, fine.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start. Thank you for inviting me for this interesting conference with this future topic, artistic education and collaboration with artificial intelligence in the future. My topic is how to educate artistic thinking. And I think there will be some links to what we heard before, how artificial intelligence can improve and even challenge design education. Well, I begin with some provocative says. There are artists and art educators very optimistic concerning the future of creation, of artistic learning, and even art using artificial intelligence. For instance, Mike Dijker from Deep Dream says, I believe that the human brain is a computer, so computers can be creative. Okay. A German author, very important in the discussion in Germany at the moment, with his book about AI art, he says, in art, the machine should be more than just a tool. It should not be anthropomorphized, but rather the human being should be de-anthropocentric, and his self-centeredness should be questioned. That means there is a certain optimism concerning the future of creation with AI. And as it sounds here, the human intelligence should be decreased, should move a little bit back. And the artificial intelligence will provide new aspects for the future. Is that so? That is my question. What can we expect for art education from the artificial intelligence? I have an example. Dreaming with artificial intelligence. It is Frida Kahlo, you may know this, the artist, in the forest. It is this picture created by students in a school festival, and they provided a workshop for the guests of the school festival with artificial intelligence. The pupils asked the guests, well, you may give me any idea what kind of picture the artificial intelligence should create. So one prompt from a guest was, well, let the artificial intelligence show Frida Kahlo in the forest with beautiful light surrounded by animals. This is what Midjourney suggested, 4 suggestions, and we see maybe not really Frida Kahlo, but young girls in a Frida Kahlo style in a wood, beautiful landscape with animals surrounding this girl with a beautiful suit in this wood. But now the question is, what is the result? What is the outcome of such a prompt? Is this a kind of creation? As we heard before, the question is, what is creativity? Creativity is maybe not only having an original idea, but creativity is more how to develop a creativity towards reality. And here in this case, we have, first of all, an idea. It was a kind of fantasy of the audience, of the guest. She wanted to have such a picture, but it is a dream picture. What kind of sense does it make for someone to watch this picture? So what is the meaning, the sense of such an artificial intelligence production? When we use it in art education lessons, this might be a good start to talk about the result and the meaning of such a picture. And what may be the learning outcome when we do it, when we discuss such a picture with the students? Well, we can develop a critical thinking, a critical media consciousness, and we can develop artificial thinking, artistic thinking. In this case, on the one hand, we can say some positive aspects. It is a kind of paradise picture. This is how we would like to live in the world, in peace and harmony with the nature, with the animals. And beauty should be around us, peace should be around us. And this is what we would prefer, how to live in a paradise world. And that was maybe the motive of the guest, why she wanted to have this picture produced by the pupils through RE. But, as we must say, this is not reality. This is a dream. This is a wish. This is a kind of cliché of paradise, but it is full of contradictions, this picture, and it is not realistic. And one can even say it is a kind of kitsch. Kitsch is something we somehow like, but it is something that is talking about our dreams, promising our dreams to come true, but indeed it hides all the problems that are behind this wish. For instance, in this picture, we see no trace of natural pollution, of destroying the woods. We see unrealistic peace and harmony between human being and animals. There is no hunter around. There is no conflict. There is no wild animal threatening these beautiful girls here in the woods. And who goes into the woods with these beautiful shirts, with these beautiful clothes? You go to a party or to an opera with such a dress, but not into the woods. So it is completely somehow a lie concerning the reality. And that is what we can develop talking about such a picture with the students. They learn a critical perception of the artificial media production. They can learn that the first production often is rather a cliché, and we can learn to see critical contradictions and make our own mind, our own judgment about the meaning of such a picture. And we can even go on and can compare such a picture of artificial intelligence with an original painting of Frida Kahlo. For instance, here we have Frida Kahlo with a thorn necklace, and she is in the nature too. But it is not such a beautiful paradise situation because the necklace is a thorn necklace. She's not smiling, she's looking very, very honest, and she's surrounded by animals. But as we know, these animals have a certain symbolic meaning in her painting, in her art, even in the tradition of ascetic culture where she comes from. So she is talking about her personal situation, and she finds personal expression in the face, in the attitude, and so on, and in the symbols she uses. So it is completely a personal expression of a situation in her life which was very problematic. As we know, at that time, she had problems with her husband, Diego Rivera, and she had accident and the pain of her body and so on. And this is expressed in such a picture. And we can compare the picture of an artist that is driven, motivated, inspired by a personal concern of existence to this cliché image of Frida Kahlo, not really Frida Kahlo, in the paradise wood. So we can, by comparing those pictures, art and artificial intelligence production, and critique of the product of artificial intelligence in a kind of talk, starting with our perception. And what can we learn concerning artistic thinking when we do such a discussion of images? We have to learn and we have to exercise a sensitive perception. Without the sensitive perception of what we see, the elements, the animals, the light, the beauty of the girls, the smile, the attitude, the dress, and so on, we cannot come into the meaning of the picture. But also, this perception stimulates our imagination. What is going on here? Why is this woman sitting here? What is the relation to the birds and to the horse and to this combination of deer and peacock? It's a kind of fairy tale animal. So our imagination begins to interpret the situation, and we begin to tell us a story, what is going on here. But then we also start this critical reflection I was talking about. When we see it's a cliche, it's full of contradictions, it's unrealistic, it's a dream picture, and it is hiding all the real problems of man and nature and so on. What is also stimulated is our willpower, the willpower of the students. When we have this dialogue in art education lesson, we have to be motivated to go on, to find out more, step by step, to keep the track. So our willpower is educated too. And also we can teach and learn relevant skills, for instance here, of how to criticize, how to analyze, how to interpret pictures. Well, how to go on when we start with such a critical observation of an image of artificial intelligence? The Conference of the Ministers of Education and Cultural Affairs in the Federal Republic of Germany has formulated 6 competencies of learning in digital education. That means also learning with artificial intelligence. Search and process, protect and safely, that is how to use safely the data and so on. Communicate and cooperate, produce, production, be active with artificial intelligence and present, solve problems and act, analyze and reflect. What we already did is we analyzed and reflected the picture, we made problem solving, we were searching for ideas and context and so on. We communicated in the class and cooperated. What about the point of production in art education? I had make a suggestion, a kind of idea. Let's remain in the woods, not with Frida Kahlo. Now we go in the woods with the students and we make an artistic project living in the forest. Living in the forest may be that we build houses in the forest. That is the topic of the artistic project we are working in Germany in art education lessons, very much with projects that combine creation, research, and knowledge. And here, for instance, I have 3 examples of a project I did with students in class 8 gymnasium. They were about 15 years old. We constructed models and we invented models of houses and huts, how to live anywhere out in the nature. For instance, in the middle, you see a house with a leaf, a roof, or for instance, on the right, you see a cocon where you can climb in and just rock smoothly in the woods and so on. So housings in the wood. Not with artificial intelligence. That was a time when there was no artificial intelligence supporting our ideas. We had to invent our ideas for ourselves. We had to make drawings. We had to discuss and we had to develop these models with the hands. Now, exercising this with artificial intelligence can offer different results. For instance, on the left, you see I gave in a prompt to Mid-Journey, well, design a house in the wood with ecological technology and with the natural materials. So this is the first suggestion that came out with green roofs, with solar panels, construction of the house out of woods, and a lot of windows, maybe too much windows, and then we can start to differentiate the first suggestion of the artificial intelligence in order to go on and on with more prompts in order to make it to our design, to our creation, starting from the first suggestion the AI gave us. For instance, you can go on until the point you see at the right. Out of concrete, we make a kind of rock and construct a wooden house in it. And so we create a new way of housing in the wood. It's a combination of advanced technology and of natural forms. You can do it by prompting, you can do it by discussing your ideas to the RE, and the RE gives you new suggestions and inspires again new ideas that you continue to work out. That may be an individual use of artificial intelligence in production, reflection, and creation. But we are talking about artificial intelligence and the art education of the future. I had some idea. We can also go on. We can, for instance, say, okay, now we are living not in the woods, but in an ecological city of the future that combines nature and architecture in a future city that is also reacting on climate change, on global heating, and so on. This is a site you see that is made by a professional team of a German housing company, and they collaborated to produce such a site of a future city. But one can do it with students too, and artificial intelligence can help us. We can, for instance, make a role play. Who is inventing and creating houses? Who is inventing and creating parks? Who is inventing and creating the traffic system? And artificial intelligence provides us with information, with detailed information. So knowledge and information inspires our creation. And this comes into a dialogue. So our creation is really enhanced by knowledge supported by the artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence can also collaborate with us. For instance, it can appear as the mayor or administration officer of the city, talking about rules of construction and so on. Like in computer games, a non-playable character, so the artificial intelligence can collaborate in these projects in the kind of virtual reality world and provoke us to new solutions and going on with the construction and creation of such a city. Interdisciplinary, many aspects have to be mentioned and reflected. Imagination is stimulated, collaboration and different roles of the students, and we can even, as we do it now, do it between classes in different countries, on different continents, and we learn from each other. What kind of problems do you have in your cities? What kind of dreams do you have for your cities here, and so on? And so we can also collaborate in international projects. So, learning aspects in an artificial intelligence supported artistic project. Again, artistic thinking is practiced. We have to develop our imagination, our sensitivity towards the form. We have to reflect the necessary knowledge and the context. We have to mention in our creation of the city or of the eco houses, and we have to develop the will again to go on and find the final solution to the project, the end of the work. And we have to develop different skills in order to come through with our creation. And critical evaluation of the solutions and the different states of the process is also practiced. Interdisciplinary thinking, thinking of natural resources, of discovering natural places where to live and where to work. You can even go out with the students and discover the surrounding of the school. Are there woods or landscape places where we can build our houses and so on? And that means you can walk between real experience and digital experience, and both inspire each other. And by formulating the prompts and also discussing between the students in the collaboration, factual and verbal clarification, our language can be improved. Social media often shorten and cut our language. Now here in the discussion and the prompting, we are forced to differentiate our language. Media self-determination, where should we work in the reality? Is model building with the hands useful at any time, or making drafts with drawings spontaneously, what artificial intelligence cannot do? Discover places in real nature and then go back into virtual reality. Self-determination in media use, and social learning when we collaborate in projects. Okay, conclusion. The first question was, is the human brain a computer? Human beings should be de-anthropocentric because artificial intelligence is comparable or is equal. I think that is a misunderstanding of the human existence as living being, because we are, as human beings, motivated by concern for our existence. Artificial intelligence has no concern of surviving and so on. And art creates horizons of meaning and gives sense to our existence. So art is very important to orient, for us to orientate in our living. And we are facing ecological crisis. We are facing also political crisis, democracy crisis, and so on. And that means we have to strengthen the human intelligence, as we heard in the presentation before. We have to educate all our intellectual powers. And that means we should try to educate all the abilities of artistic thinking, sensitivity, imagination, critical reflection, goodwill, and even the necessary skills. Artificial intelligence may be a democratic vision machine and a debate bot and support us in this kind of self-determined and freedom education of our mind, of our mental skills in order to position ourselves in our lives. Democratic vision machine, because when we prompt, it delivers images for us. We can reflect and we can modify. And we can debate with the artificial intelligence certain necessary aspects. It's a kind of competition maybe we are facing now. Human self-efficacy in competition with artificial intelligence. This is why we should strengthen artificial thinking as human thinking for human existence as much as possible. And art education is a very special subject for that. But what will be the future? Artificial general intelligence is coming up. Maybe it's a game changer when artificial intelligence starts to solve and to find its own paths and its own problems and its own intelligence, human-like and more than human-like. It is not so sure whether we will survive as the first point of evolution. There are some theories, for instance, here Nick Bostrom's Superintelligence, very famous book that says maybe the next step of evolution will be artificial intelligence and not human intelligence. Let's use art education with all the chances to develop all our mental abilities to face this competition. Thank you. And for the end, if you want to learn more about artistic education in Germany and artistic projects, I can offer you this book I wrote some years ago, inspired by Joseph Beuys and the artistic education, very much influence in German art education. And when you want to learn more about best practice of artistic learning in schools, in art education in Germany, you can see here National Association of Art Education in Germany, and you find the working group for post-digital art education. In Deutsch, AG Postdigitale Kunstpädagogik, you find best practices. These are the figures I use, the sources, and thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. To practice artistic thinking or enhance a human ability, you suggested the various ways to collaborate with the AI. Thank you.
Before we move on, I will pass along the question we have collected in advance. We kindly ask that you provide your answers. So here is the question. Apart from considering the positive aspects of AI-assisted creations, such as their value and potential for development, who should be the owner of such creations and who should hold the rights? And how is the issue of ownership and rights for such creations currently viewed in Germany? And what are your personal thoughts on this matter?
Well, I think we have a rather intelligent state at the moment in Germany dealing with those questions. There is no copyright concerning images produced by artificial intelligence. But when personal creativity, individual intellectual creation is done, and it is really an invention of an individual, of a human being, supported by artificial intelligence, then the copyright of the individual image is important and is protected in Germany. If it is simply an artificial intelligent picture, for instance, in the first site, as we saw Frida Kahlo in the woods, that is not protected. But the more it becomes an individual creation, the more it becomes a picture, a creation that is protected by copyright. You see, it's a slight movement between the free artificial production and the personal and individual artificial production. The European Union is currently working on the Artificial Intelligence Act. And there they try to find regulations for transparency and liability of productions, creations with artificial intelligence. And that will probably, hopefully, give more clear perspectives of how to deal with copyright on artificial intelligence productions. My personal opinion is, at the moment, I think it is a good solution to protect the real individual creations and to have a free available artificial intelligence images that are spontaneously done. But it is difficult, and maybe some lawyers will be engaged to find out where is the border between the freeware and between the individual production. That is still an uncertain area.
네, 답변 고맙습니다.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Professor.
you for the answer, Professor Buschkühle. 유스투스 리비 기센대학교 칼 피터 부시쿨레 교수님의
That was called
답변이었습니다.
Peter Buschkühle, and he's